I'm finishing my yoga practice this morning, which is something that I did every day while I was in prison. I could do it in my cell, and I actually taught a yoga class. And something I have in common with Ghislaine Maxwell, I guess she taught a yoga class inside too. I didn't know her. I was never down with her, but other women I know were down with her at different places. So anyhow, um, just being on my mat this morning has me thinking about my experiences in prison with exercise. And the shocking one to me is going back to the biological men that were housed in prison with me. In recreation, sometimes when we were exercising, we would be in the gymnasium in recreation, and there was especially this one man. He went by Michelle, but his last name was Skylar. And there was another one too, Raymond, like this tall, skinny guy. Anyways, both white men that are in there as convicted child molesters, now in there preying on women. And they look like men, they talk like men. They just put some makeup on sometimes, and not every day, a lot of days they don't. And they throw a half-assed set of pigtails or a braid in their hair, and I guess that makes them a woman. So they can then come in there and prey on women, because since they identify as a woman, somehow they're still like having relationships with women in prison. It makes sense, right? At our taxpayers' money. Anyways, when we were trying to exercise, sometimes these two little weird white guys, well, one was little, one was tall. Anyways, they would sit on the bench at the back of the gymnasium and they would just stare at us, which is, especially if you're doing yoga or you're teaching a yoga class and you have this disgusting chomo guy that's in there for raping children, and they're just staring at you, and that's what you had to put up with because you couldn't do anything. You could write these men up all you wanted and nobody would help you. I spoke to an officer for help with one of the biological men in recreation one time, and he couldn't help me because he was worried about his job, which I get. You're trying to make a paycheck and they're worried about being hit with discrimination charges if they were to help us. And so these men just get away with whatever they want. And then my friend Shelly, who's another J6 woman, she was in there exercising one time, and she said that there was this one black man that was very much a man, very like big, muscular, manly guy with dreads, who of course identified as a woman. But then like when he showed up to chapel one time to talk to the chaplain, he told my friend Shelly, I'm here to have a man-to-man talk. Yeah, so that's what kind of guy this guy is. And in recreation, Shelly was in there exercising one time, and this guy comes up and lays on a mat in very close proximity to her and lays on his back and puts his legs up in the air. And Shelly described it as he was airing out his balls right beside her. And what could she do besides get up and leave? So that's my... What is this anyways? If I'm remembering these memories every day and I can't get away from them, this is some kind of trauma or something. I don't know. But maybe just by talking about it, it'll help work it out. But we really need to help these women in prison. They should not have to endure these types of things.